So today I want to talk about the Sony 24-105mm, the lens I've probably used the most over the past couple of years. Don't worry, this video is not going to be like a deep dive into the specs or technical side of the lens. I just want to give my thoughts and opinions and should you buy it in 2025, so let's jump into the video. So real fast, let's talk about why I actually bought the lens in the first place. So my first ever lens for this camera was the Samyang 50mm f1.4, I think. If you guys don't know, I was doing some social media for a photography company back in the day. And we just tested out doing some photography for social media. I wasn't really looking at, sharpness or anything, but as the months progressed, I thought, right, I want to try and do something a little bit more, try and push myself. So I tried to do some video on that lens, wasn't really the best. I think I did some reels for Instagram, but if I can find them, I'll put them on here. But as I said, it wasn't the best lens for video. The autofocus was absolutely terrible and it's really loud. So every time I tried to do a video, you could just hear the motors going in the lens and it wasn't ideal. So I did what most people would do and started researching for a hybrid lens, if you want to call it that. When I say research, I mean watching reviews and stuff on YouTube, which is probably I don't know, is it the best way to go about things? But I was watching loads of videos on reviews on the 24-105 and you know what, I made my mind up and I bought it, and I can't lie, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. So pretty much, long story short, I bought this lens to do video and photo. There you go. My first impressions on the lens when I first got it was, God, this is really hard, because I was coming from a really wide aperture from f1.4 to an aperture of f4. Yeah, I really had to adapt and adjust my shooting. It was good, it was hard, and I did learn a lot. As I said, this was my first ever camera, so I was still adapting and still learning new skills as the years or months, progressed. So yeah. And then we started doing some video stuff, which I was really, really happy about. But I must say, as a beginner a few years ago, I really struggled shooting in low light. And obviously this is f4, so yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle. But once I started to figure it out, it became so much fun to use, and then my skills progressed, and then my work just progressed in general. And that's when I started doing weddings, product shoots, I started YouTube, and yeah, so on, you name it. So actually, talking about video use and weddings and YouTube and stuff, this is pretty much what I mainly use this lens for nowadays. Yeah, it's really good handheld, especially doing vlogging and stuff. It's really, really fun. But the downside is, because it's a pretty heavy lens and I use a cage obviously for my camera, it's a pretty heavy kit, so yeah, it does hurt my arms a little bit when I'm vlogging, but the quality's there, so it's decent. It's better than GoPro quality, I can't lie. If you are looking to do some more professional, video stuff with the lens, then make sure you have that rule, that 3 contact rule, where you have 3 points of contacts, on the camera. So I would recommend doing your research a little bit, using a gimbal, but we'll talk about that in a minute. If you want that extra stabilization, then the lens does have optical steady shot, so it's got that steady shot within the lens. And my camera body has IBIS, which is in-body stabilization. Here's me pretending that I know what I'm talking about. So that it helps balance it out if you are on the go recording a little bit. So yeah, keep that in mind. But I must say, if you do like the realistic, handheld shaky look, if you know what I mean, then this is, the perfect kit that you might be looking for. But going back to my YouTube videos and stuff, when I do shoot a YouTube video, let me just tell you like an insight in how I record. I would obviously use the 24-105 with my body, and then I would attach a ND filter, a variable ND filter on the end. But if I wanted to take some pictures and include in the video, which I would normally do, I would take off my ND filter and then just use this lens as the photo camera, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would do also photo for this on YouTube, which is just easier because I don't want to keep changing lenses and stuff, or taking another lens, which is just making my backpack or my sling a bit heavier. So yeah, this is such like a versatile lens. I know I'm probably going off on a tangent, but if you guys are really looking into something hybrid and it does its job, this is the perfect lens, and I cannot, recommend or suggest it enough. So yeah. So on the topic of photo, actually, I want to say, obviously you got the 24mm on the wide end, and then you got the 105 on the telephoto end. And I must say, it's really sharp if you are interested in the sharpness and the details and stuff. I'm not going to go through that right now because I honestly don't know. I'm not a pixel peeper or anything. I just shoot for the fun of it, honestly. But when it comes to client stuff, then I want to make sure stuff is in focus, and if I'm doing a product shoot, you want to make sure the product's in focus. So yeah, that's more on the technical side. I'm sure there's other reviews on YouTube that actually dive into the actual technical side of, you know, the motors and the glass and stuff, so, and the autofocus and all that stuff. But I honestly don't know enough about that. I just have fun with the lens and the equipment I have. So if you are here to hear the in-depth science stuff, then I'll try and find some other videos on YouTube, and I'll link them down below if you are interested in watching the technical side of this lens and how it copes with photo and video and all that jazz, you know what I mean? So I've got to mention, if you didn't watch my previous videos about how zoom lenses can make a photographer lazy, then I'll link it up here somewhere if you are interested. I won't go into depth about it, but it's a personal opinion, not gonna lie. But if you want to go check it out, I'll link it up there. But if you do want to buy this lens for, you know, photo, and you want to do some sports, wildlife, landscape stuff, honestly, this lens has never let me down. I used it for equine, obviously landscapes and product stuff, so, and weddings and everything like that. So yeah, if you are a bit skeptical, I'll try and throw some examples on screen now, but this lens is honestly so good. It's so versatile. Like as I said before, if you are interested in the scientific side of the lens, and if it's something you're really interested in, I'll link some videos down below so you can go and watch them. So let's talk about the real world use. I'm not gonna lie, as I said before, this is a heavy bit of kit, especially with my camera body. If you don't know, I'm using the Sony a7 IV, and then obviously with the 24-105, and then a small rig cage. So it's a heavy bit of kit, I can't lie. If you are going on a hike, I don't know if I would recommend it. It's definitely doable if you're fit and strong and stuff, but so if you are looking for this lens to do a bit of, you know, peak, you know, mountain photography stuff, then it's up to you, honestly. I can't really speak on experience because if I go up hiking, I would take my 35mm. But when I do go on walks and stuff with my backpack, I can definitely feel the camera's there. It's not light whatsoever. I think the lens actually comes in around 660 grams, I think, which isn't too bad, honestly, compared to other lenses. But what it is, I think it is because it's sturdy and, you know, it's nice to hold, it's good material, it's strong. I think it does have to compromise the weight a little bit just to keep it, you know, sturdy and stuff. So yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, I can't lie. It's personal preference, because people think my 35mm is heavy, and I don't know. It's one of them, innit? Like, it's personal preference at the end of the day. Everyone's gonna have an opinion. It's up to you. Just try it. Try it once. If it's too heavy, then just keep it for something a bit more steadier, like a steadier walk or just out in nature travel. You know what I mean? All I can say, it's really well built. I guess the positive side of a heavy bit of kit is if you are doing video, it's gonna stabilize it a little bit more. So I guess that's a benefit on the heavier side. So if you are looking to do some video, that is a benefit. If you are hiking and stuff, you can just put it in your camera bag and you probably won't even feel it, to be honest, if you are carrying other stuff. It's probably like a full water bottle, like a 1 litre water bottle, or like a flask. Probably the same, is it? I don't know. Maybe a bit lighter than a flask, I can't lie. I can't really tell. It's on my camera right now, so I can't really juggle it. That last bit probably sounds dead negative, but it's definitely doable, so yeah, there we go. I don't know what else to say. So let's talk about what I actually love about this lens. Honestly, I'm not lying here, it's just a reliable, well-rounded lens. It literally does everything that you need it to without fuss. As we know, the lens is weather sealed because we literally went out in the rain, pouring down. Mate, it was pouring down. If you haven't watched the video, I'll link it in the description, but definitely go check it out. I got absolutely soaked, mate, to the bone. This lens is also great for, you know, hybrid shooters, and I honestly think, and I can't lie, this is one of Sony's most underrated lenses. Photos are sharp, video sharp. Obviously at f4, you know, you don't really get that depth of field unless you are pretty close to the subject, but I think it does really handle it well. Obviously, it blurs out the background, so yeah, and the autofocus is really good. Yep. Okay. So let's talk about some negatives about the lens. Obviously, if you are doing video, it's not an internal zoom, it's an external, so it zooms out when you zoom in. So does that make sense? Obviously, if you are doing some video and you're using a gimbal, you might not want to zoom in because it's not an internal zoom. So if you're shooting at 50mm and you want to go for a 70mm, you'll have to rebalance your gimbal because it'll just knock off that balance a little bit because you're zooming out. So yeah, let me show you. Yeah, so it just extends and that's it. Just extends. And obviously the lens is f4, but it's constant f4, so I guess that's a benefit in itself. But if you are doing some nighttime shoots, make sure you are prepared, take some lights, some flashes, and even bump the ISO maybe. The cameras nowadays are just made for high ISO in it, so maybe experiment with some high ISO. And I honestly think that's the only two negatives that I can think of on the spot. Obviously it's a little bit heavy when vlogging, but yeah, it's doable, and you just, yeah, beef arms, I guess. Would I buy it again? Absolutely, no doubt, no hesitation. It's just a yes. I think it's a really valuable lens, and obviously it's great bang for your buck, honestly. I remember every photography and video channel used to say best bang for your buck. I'm not sure if anyone says it anymore. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Bang for your buck, mate. Am I going down? I think I'm shrinking. Whip, there we go. This chair is absolutely terrible. If you're a chair company watching this, do you want to hook your boy up? Do you know what I mean? There we at it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you made it to the end. Hopefully it's made a little bit of a decision, or your decision, a little bit easier. Honestly, I'm speaking from the heart here. I've not been paid to say this. I paid for this lens with my own money. And honestly, this lens, it's one of the best lenses I've ever used. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I really do hope it's helped in somewhat way. There's a new video every single Wednesday at 6 PM. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notification bells, leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you next week on Wednesday at 6 PM. Ciao for now.